Wouldn't consider myself to be in like a dark night of the soul, but I am in a part of my life where I'm reflecting a lot.
It's more than you know.
So I was watching a TikTok of an art teacher teaching a kindergarten class, and it helped me to think back to when I was in elementary school, and I was thinking about like who was my art teacher in kindergarten, first grade. The way that my elementary school was set up, we had two buildings. We had a primary building and we had an intermediate building. And in the primary building, I forgot who my art teacher was. I remember who it was for the intermediate building. And it's crazy because I can remember everything else about like my elementary school, my upbringing, things like that. But I can't remember who my art teacher was for some reason. Anyway, thinking back to the past a lot has been something that I've been in recently, and it doesn't help that I'm getting all these spiritual TikToks on my For You page. And I just watched this TikTok of a girl talking about the dark night of the soul and how, you know, when you're on your spiritual path and the more you grow or the higher you grow is what she said, the more you grow, the more you start to realize like who's for you and who's really not for you. And it's really based on like resonation and where your energy is at, what your energy resonates to and what it doesn't. And I'm to a point right now where I'm like, my energy is definitely changing because the things that I used to do no longer resonate with me. The people that used to be in my life, not saying that I don't resonate with them, but it's just, I know that because I went so long not talking to them, me jumping back into that connection, the energy would just be different. And I'm at that point where it's like there are certain people that have been in my life, including family too, that it's just like it's just been weird lately. The spiritual journey becomes crazy is because it's like you're with yourself all the time and you don't really see the change, but when you're around somebody, that's when you start to see the change. And that always happens in my life when I go through these spurts of like isolation, or I'm usually to myself, and then I go around people, I can immediately sense the shift that has happened. And I remember the first time I became conscious about it was in 2020 when I went to a birthday dinner, and I had spent, I think, 6 months by myself in a room. Not saying I never went out or anything like that. I was living in the city at the time, New York City, and I'd spend the majority of my time in my room because it was the first time that I had my own room, and really enjoyed my own space. And it was the first time that I really started to prioritize my healing and spend time with myself, really. I went from that apartment and then I ended up moving back home, and that day I had a birthday dinner and I went out and I was with people from high school, and I remember feeling this shift within my energy. I felt as though that like something had changed. It was a positive energy, it wasn't negative, but I'm like, something has changed. But at that time I didn't quite understand the concept of like when you're doing your, I guess when you're doing your growth and you're growing on your journey and people aren't growing to that same, you know, at that same rate, you start to notice the difference. And at the time I didn't understand that. And now I'm like thinking back to those times, and even right now I'm just like, ah. But another thing, quick side note, sometimes there are some spiritual people that their speech is a little too woo-woo, and I'm like, you know, I just can't do that, because for me, I just feel like on my spiritual journey, thank God the universe did not take away my personality, because like I don't, you know, for a moment it could have, and to some people it may look like I sound different, but to me I still feel like I'm the same, you know. But I don't know, other people are on their own journey, so I'm not here to judge. Anyway, moving on. I'm realizing that as you get older, and I already knew that your energy changes, of course, as you get older, like you start liking different things. But for me, it's happened so quickly. I've been by myself for some time, and really just prioritizing my healing and becoming more self-aware and understanding my energy more. While that has been great, you know, I think the balance to that is the people that I've like always used to talk to, I'm starting not to resonate energetically anymore. And I'm like, I guess I'm in that mourning period, but like I'm coming out of that because like I've kind of been in that period for some time now where I'm realizing that I'm no longer who I used to be, but I'm not yet who I'm becoming. I'm in that like weird middle, and I'm taking it, you know, day by day, because that's all we can do at this moment. It's just, I'm getting to that point where I'm like, you know, I'm really starting to realize things for what they are. On the positive note, things have been going great. You know, I did stop the subconscious journey. The reason of that is it started to feel like a work task. I felt like I was doing it more for business purposes rather than actually enjoying the journey of it. Around the time when I started doing it, I noticed that my subconscious was chatty a lot. And so I was just like, what if I start a journey and just start documenting what's on my subconscious? And it was on the Leo new moon, I believe. And so I just started documenting. And the first couple of days I liked it. Then I got to day like 5 or 6. And I was like, okay, this is starting to get a little, usually when I'm starting something like that and I get into the process, I'm like, okay, usually around this time it's like that. But as I started going on, I started becoming more tired. My energy was just drained all the time. I would do the subconscious journey, and then like after I did everything would be like fine for an hour. I would do like my morning routine, go eat, go shower. Then I'd lay back down and my subconscious would be chatty. And so when I took a break this past week, I had been taking a break and I've had the best week. You know, I've just been relaxing. I made a couple of jingles. Go check those out. And I really enjoyed it. I started questioning to myself when I was taking a shower. I was like, do I really want to continue this? Because I've had such a great week. And it's not to say that I'm like, oh, this is an uncomfortable experience, but you need to keep going. But it's more along the lines of, is my energy resonating with this? And it wasn't really resonating with it. If I'm looking back at when I first started it, I had the excitement to start it, but as time went on, it kind of died off fairly quickly. So yeah, we tried something new, but it didn't quite work out. But I learned something from it. I learned, I came up with my own little language with the universe. I also learned or became more aware of my subconscious and like what it's saying and what, I guess, triggers pop up, what my energy feels like, because I realize when my subconscious becomes chatty, I'm like, my whole body starts to communicate with me. It's all connected. But I kind of know for myself when that happens, start becoming aware and things like that. Right now, I'm just relaxing. I'm learning to enjoy life again. And I think I just needed to step away from the subconscious journey and really step away from just like the go energy of my work, because I've been working a lot and it took me like looking at everything to realize that I've been putting in a lot of work, a lot of effort. I made the montage video for the 1 year anniversary of this show, and I realized, I was like, I have been putting in the work. And even though people in my life may not agree, it's been a lot of work. And even though with just this show, it may not seem like it's been a lot of work, I've put in a lot of work every day. Healing is work in itself, which I don't think is talked about enough, and not to say that people don't talk about it, they just don't talk about it enough. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to self-reflect, become aware, take accountability, and really process and move on. That's been my challenge on my journey, was to process certain things because I had been in this go energy. I would say 2019 was the first time that I just started to process everything in life in general, and then COVID happened, which gave me more time to process certain things. So over the last few years, I've learned how to process, which is a good thing, but that's a lot of work, because it requires myself to look at past situations from an emotional, logical, and outsider's perspective. The spiritual journey never stops, but I know for me, I'm learning how to rest and become more present, which is something that I've struggled with as well. But that's where I'm at right now. And I just wanted to share that, like, if anybody else is going through this like weird time where things are changing, people are not resonating, and yada yada, just know that like it's temporary and it may seem like it's gonna last forever, because I feel like I've been in this like isolative period forever, and it's only been about a year. It's been a very, very closed circle for the last year, and I think it's for good reasoning. I'll believe that it's for good reasoning, because I'm like, I really feel like something's coming. But like, this last year has really been reflective, subconscious reflecting. Oh my god. Quick side note. So there's been a motorcycle that's been going up and down the street, and I think at like 1 a.m. the other night, it was speeding down the street, and I was in like a deep sleep, and it just sped down, and the feeling I got in my heart chakra, Anyway, that's all I got for you today. I'll see you next time. Bye.